Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome everybody, live.
Yeah.
This is Under the Mat Radio. This is your host, Tech, with co-host.
NSC Game Boy, what it is, what it do.
Yes. Let everybody know, fans, that Shin Blade, the sensational one, will be joining us momentarily. He's running a little late, taking care of some business for the show. Let everybody know that, yes, this is Tuesday. I know yesterday. I want to give big ups to good old buddy Jim Ross. We had a special DLC episode yesterday with him. I know it threw some people off. Everybody kept asking, so the ways in your show on Tuesdays, it is. But when we have big guests and great names, sometimes we tend to do extra episodes. So this is Tuesday night, just to remind everybody, we are here live, regularly scheduled program. This episode is called WrestleMania's Worst, because we will be going over today, the topic for most of the show. We'll be going over the worst of WrestleMania, and this includes worst WrestleMania matches, WrestleMania sets, WrestleMania WrestleMania attires, finishes, overall cards, anything that was worse in WrestleMania, of all 30 of them. Everybody can call in and let us know. Definitely, just to let you know, too, we have a great guest that we'll be bringing him in a couple of seconds. He's the owner and founder of 80s Tees, Inc. This company specializes in shirts from the 1980s, from pop culture, what have you. Kevin Stecko will be joining us. But, of course, before we bring him on, you can follow the show on Twitter at @tech_UTMR. You can follow NSC Game Boy at
NSC Game Boy, spelled correctly. Please, spell it correctly.
Please do. And you can follow Shin Blade at the sensational one. I believe I got it right, but when Shin Blade comes back, he'll be able to clarify that. Definitely. Please follow us on Facebook, our group page and like page, Under the Mat Radio. If you need to contact the show itself with any business questions, any questions or updates, anything for our sponsorship, email us at underthematsradio@gmail.com. Of course, follow us on Instagram, Under the Mats Radio, all one word, and on Facebook. I'm sorry, botching on Facebook. Also on YouTube, Under the Mats Radio. Please subscribe to the page.
Yeah, subscribe.
Please do. You'll be able to see a lot of great interviews. You'll be able to see us instead of hear our voices. The great interviews that we've done with past and present and future stars of wrestling, even WWE Hall of Famers. So without that being said, we will bring in right now the man himself, the owner of 80s Tees, bringing in right now live, Kevin Stecko. Welcome to you, Under the Mat Radio.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not too much. I'm just sitting here actually hoping that I can hang with you guys, because I'll be honest, my wrestling knowledge is kind of it cuts off somewhere probably in the very early 90s.
Oh, okay.
Hey, either way it's fine. We talk about wrestling and everything else on here, so you make sure you feel at home.
Awesome.
That being said, of course, we brought you on. You have a good company with T-shirts, and we'll give you a chance now. Let everybody know, all the great listeners all around, about your company and how did it start?
Yeah, so we kind of started because of He-Man, and if you're born in anywhere from say mid to late 70s all the way through the mid 80s, I'm sure you know what that is. So I was a huge fan. I had way more figures than is reasonable for anyone to have, and saved up all whatever little allowance I could get as a kid to get more figures. And so naturally, as I grew up, I kind of left it like most people do. And but when I went to college, I happened on a shop that had a He-Man T-shirt for sale. And I was like, that's just the most hilarious thing ever. You know, here's this thing I loved as a kid that clearly is out of style and you know, practically inappropriate for an adult to wear. But I thought it was amazing, so I bought one. And once I bought that and wore it around places other than that college campus, everyone always asked me where I got it. So I realized, hey, no one knows where to get this. There's a lot of weird people like me that, you know, and this is 15 years ago. You got to remember, before wearing a retro T-shirt was kind of like a thing. And so I realized people wanted to do that too, and I made a deal with a guy who sold them at that shop to essentially put his shop online. I should say a small selection of his shop, because he sold everything from Persian rugs to incense and all this other weird stuff too.
Okay, that's great. Just to let you know, one of our regular listeners and road trip buddies, Eric Saltine, he said he loves your website and company. He's ordered there before. He's gotten some Power Ranger T-shirts from
Nice.
the company.
Yeah, Power Rangers are definitely 90s, so obviously we aren't strictly 80s anymore. Unfortunately, guys like me are getting old and don't buy as many T-shirts anymore, so we did have to branch out at least into the 90s for now.
Okay. Speaking of Power Rangers, of course, I'm sure you're aware of. Have you seen, Kevin, the new the video that went viral, the new darker Power Ranger 15-minute video?
Yeah, I did see that. It was I didn't know what to take of it at first. You know, so different, and the guns kind of threw me off at first too. I was like, well, this just kind of seems like a space war movie or something, but it was pretty neat stuff.
Okay. NSC Game Boy, he ended up introducing me to the video, so we was out taking care of some business, and he showed it to me. NSC Game Boy, what was your thoughts of it?
Oh yeah, it was hot. Actually, I'm the one that told you. So yeah.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Yeah, it was definitely something to really take your time and get to see. It's only like 15 minutes, I believe, like 10-15 minutes, but it was very well done. I'm an 80s baby, you know. I grew up in 81, so you know I grew up in kind of the best era of TV, movies, music, you know, pop culture and all that. So a lot of the cartoons and stuff was beginning to get edgy and stuff as I was getting older, and Power Rangers was definitely, you know, one of those key elements that for some reason I think it's still on. Like, you know, the show, of course, it's been through a couple incarnations, but I think the show is still running, if I'm not mistaken.
They have a new one coming out, yeah. I don't think it's quite out, but it's coming soon.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's 20 years. That's still going. I mean, The Simpsons still going. I remember The Simpsons back when I was like going to elementary school, and now my son and daughters and stuff in elementary school. Mm-hmm. One is in middle school, and The Simpsons still on. It's like, you know, that nostalgic, like, wow, I remember the Tracy Ullman show, and now, you know, you know, wow, they still on. Yeah. Oh, good thing.
Yeah, they always reinvent it, like you pointed out. It's they have like almost different versions of it that come out every so often.
Yeah, it's a great thing to witness and see. But let me ask you a question. What has been the most hardest, I guess, cartoon or image for you to capture out of the 80s that someone has asked you for a shirt for?
All right, so you're basically saying what have I struggled to get that I would like
like
to
the
sell,
most difficult
essentially?
one. Yeah, like the most difficult
one.
Well,
okay, so there's a couple that jump out to mind immediately. So have you ever heard of the movie Monster Squad?
Yeah, of course. I own the DVD.
Okay, exactly. So for me, Monster Squad is huge. No one can figure out who actually owns the thing for licensing rights. Another one is Last Starfighter. No one can figure out who owns it. It's weird. Like you call the company that owns the DVD or that released the DVD, and you ask them, and they don't have the merchandising rights. And then they tell you some other studio. I call them, and I keep getting a runaround. And then the other one that you might appreciate too. So there's those two. The third one, and these are all movie based, is The Last Dragon, which classic Barry Gordy movie.
Sure.
So that one there is, and it's such a great T-shirt movie too, right? With like you got like the glow, and you got the just the cartoony type of characters that would make great T-shirts. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to get licensing rights for that one either.
I know Barry Gordy in Motown. Barry Gordy and his Motown did the production and all that and everything. But Dan, that's a good question. You know what I would suggest you do, if you can? Get in contact with the actor. Try to email him and ask him, because if he's still receiving some type of royalty or any type of check, that will help you figure out exactly how to, go down the pipeline of finding out who may owns it and, who may still have the rights currently.
Right.
That's a good point. I've never thought of that, actually. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Here.
Welcome to Under the Mat. That's what we do.
Yeah,
great idea.
Yes, it is. Question, Kevin, do you remember the cartoon in the 80s, Marshall Bravestar?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you remember the cartoon in the 80s called Marshall Bravestar?
Bravestar, yeah. Bravestar, I think that is a Warner Brothers owned cartoon. And so I'll tell you the problem with Warner Brothers. So they bought everybody up, right? Because there was like Hanna-Barbera, and there was, what's the name of it? I can't think of what else it was. But they bought up a whole lot of different ones, and then what happened is they're so big that they don't even care about some of these things that they own now. So actually, and I do see now, this is a DreamWorks, Bravestar's DreamWorks. So I actually could talk to those guys because I do know them. So you think you're looking for Bravestar T-shirts then, huh?
Oh yeah. So that was my favorite 80s cartoon. I actually had the Comforter. I never admitted this on air, but I actually had the Comforter when I was a kid of a Bravestar. Actually, I think it's still at my grandfather's house. So it was always
yeah. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Live exclusive.
Yeah. Okay. Hey.
Definitely. So.
In the 80s, I was a big Ninja Turtle fan and stuff, and I liked it. Thundercats and Silverhawks. I used to love Silverhawks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was.
Silverhawks is another Warner Brothers one, and that's one. When you asked me about the thing that I had most troubles with, Silverhawks would probably be next after those three movies. But the problem with Silverhawks is I know exactly who owns it. The problem is that it's Warner Brothers, and that they want ridiculous amounts of money to even consider doing a deal. So it's essentially sitting there locked up, and probably no one will ever offer them enough money. So I think it's effectively done, unfortunately.
That's terrible.
I just got a text from someone about the show. They want to ask you about Laugh Olympics.
Yeah, the Hanna-Barbera Laugh Olympics. We have had Hanna-Barbera stuff with those characters. So, like, the Laugh Olympics was like Snagglepuss and Yogi Bear and I can't even think of some of the other guys.
What's his name? What's that dude name? Was Dasty something? The one with the little thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Muttley, right? Yeah.
I couldn't think of it.
So yeah, I've actually inquired about that as well. And I'm gonna sound like a broken record to you guys. That is also Warner Brothers because they bought the Hanna-Barbera up. So,
you know what's funny?
So basically, all
these
these cartoon makers. Yeah, what happened in the '80s was all these cartoon makers. I mean, for lack of a better word, they kind of failed. So their assets have been sold a number of times, and you know, all roads eventually have led to Warner Brothers. So like Warner Brothers would pick up a full catalog of stuff, mainly to get, say, one thing or two things. Like, so in the case of Hanna-Barbera, you're talking Flintstones and
Jetsons.
You know, so that's like the big one right there. That and Yogi Bear is a pretty big one too, right? So then some of these other lesser things like Huckleberry Hound and Last Olympics fall through the cracks and kind of get buried forever, unfortunately.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. I was a big fan of the Disney Afternoon, which was DuckTales, and their Rangers, and that's Disney. So how is it about with Disney? Is it the channel's a lot easier-ish, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with DuckTales, we do have, at least right now, we have one shirt with DuckTales.
Okay.
So the cool thing about Disney is they tend to have good relationships with licensees. So we don't have a direct license, but one of our vendors does. And they didn't just get DuckTales. They got like DuckTales, they got Mickey Mouse, they got Minnie Mouse, and all the other characters. So even what was the other one that was on the same time or right after DuckTales with the
Rescue Rangers,
like the Jungle Book?
Yeah,
the Rescue Rangers and the Jungle Book one.
Tailspin, Gummy Bears.
Tailspin, that's it. Yeah, exactly. So basically, no one could really afford to offer a license just to sell DuckTales or Rescue Ranger shirts, but they kind of came as a package. So, and we actually have all three of those.
Great. Now, let's talk about 80s movies, Kevin. Some of your favorite movies from the 80s. Of course, one of my favorite shirts from your company is the Dylan shirt from Predator with the two arms.
Nice.
It's one of my it's one of my favorite shirts as a whole. Talk to us about some of your favorite movies from the 80s.
Yeah, well, so my all-time favorite movie is Karate Kid. And I don't know 100% why I fell in love with that movie so much. I do know that one day I was born in 1977, and I think my family got a VCR probably in like 1985 or 1986, and I didn't even know what they were. But my mom came home one day and said, "Oh, I rented a movie," and I can remember this clear as day, even though I was only in second or third grade, and I was like, "I don't understand what you mean, rented a movie." So she explained to me that you give someone money and they let you bring home a video cassette and then you can watch it that day. And she rented two movies. So the first one that we ever played in our VCR was Karate Kid, and then the second one was a cheesy movie called Ghoulies.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Ghoulies?
I remember Ghoulies.
Yeah.
I actually own a Ghoulies collection, the trilogy.
Okay, right. So Ghoulies will forever be burned in my mind because of the movie
toilet
cover had that little guy in the toilet. Yeah.
Yeah, the toilet scene. Yeah.
So definitely Karate Kid is my all-time favorite for sure.
Well, I do know that the director of the first Rocky directed the Karate Kid, and he said that he pretty much used the same formula he used with Rocky, because that's what the Karate Kid is. It's
really?
Just martial arts Rocky. Yeah, he said he used the same exact formula.
Yeah.
And that's I was watching the AMC thing, when they have the little bites at the bottom, the little sound thing.
Yeah.
And I was watching the Karate Kid, and it was the guy who directed Rocky, and he was like, "Yeah, I pretty much just." It was not the director. It was like I think it was the director, because I don't think Sylvester Stallone directed the first Rocky. He just wrote it. Yeah, he was like, "I just used the same." He was like, "I used the same formula for Rocky, for Karate Kid like I did Rocky." That's what all is. It's like it's Rocky with karate in it. That's it.
Pretty much.
That's funny. Well,
there's not many training montages.
One of the best parts.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say the best part about Karate Kid to me is the fight montage where the song "You're the Best" by a guy named Phil Esposito Joe Esposito is played, and the lyrics to "You're the Best" don't actually make any sense in terms of the movie The Karate Kid, and that is because it was written for Rocky III. And then Sylvester Stallone decided not to use it. He went with "Eye of the Tiger." So basically, you ended up with the Rocky III song in Karate Kid, and it's an amazing song. But if you actually listen to the lyrics, it makes no sense at all.
Wow. Definitely did not know that.
Yeah, I never knew that. See, look at that.
Yeah, didn't even know that.
You stuff.
Educating each other on the show.
Important stuff getting shared, right?
Oh yeah. Cool, Kevin. What we're gonna do? I'm gonna mention to you some classic '80s movies that I was sent by a couple of fans. They wanted to know your thoughts on them. You could be like your first thought. The Breakfast Club.
All right, so you want me to kind of do word association? Is that what I'm?
Yeah, word association.
Yeah,
you want me to do?
Like word association.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Breakfast Club. Loser. Like I always think the labels the guys had.
Mhm.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
The Pulley.
Nice.
E.T.
Crumpled up, shriveled, white E.T.
16 Candles.
Jake Ryan.
Beverly Hills Cop.
I'm going to go with Mumford High, but if I could do Eddie Murphy's Laugh, I would have definitely gone that route.
Okay. You said The Goonies. The Lost Boys, one of my favorites.
Maggots.
And if you watch this, Roger Rabbit.
Jessica.
NFC Game Boy.
Can we all agree that Who Framed Roger Rabbit actually made the name Jessica like the most sexiest thing in the world? like for a cartoon, it's like
that's a good point.
Can we all agree to that? Like, nothing wrong with the name Jessica, but it's like before I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jessica was just. But ever since then, when I hear girl Jessica, it's like, I've met a lot of attractive Jessicas ever since that movie. So it's like, if I meet a girl and she's ugly and her name's Jessica, it's like really bad for her.
I know. I know a couple of those. I know a couple of those in the Game Boy.
Oh, for real? Wow.
Yeah. I used to work at
all
the
the
college
Jessicas
campus,
I know are very attractive. But, yeah,
I know it's some too, but can't say the face always matches the good sound of the name.
That's bad. They should start over.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit had a lot of hidden innuendos in it. Of course, with Jessica Rabbit falling down when she got knocked out of the car and her dress came up and she, air quote, was naked. And, of course, they ended up taking that out in later versions. Remember, this back we had VHS. It wasn't DVDs then. I'm sorry, video cassette. So they ended up taking that out.
VHS.
You're not sensitive people. You're not sensitive people are.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a kid's movie, right?
Yeah, it really wasn't.
It wasn't. I still got the VHS.
But I think that kind of shows you just how much times has changed. Because I think every generation you have like a cartoon that you just really know that's really not meant for kids. And I think the 80s, I wasn't a big G.I. Joe fan, but I don't think G.I. Joe was really for kids.
It really wasn't, but I loved it.
Because nobody died. It was just everybody just shooting each other. If you ever noticed, everybody had parachutes.
Yep.
I couldn't stand that.
And the funny thing too is, like, as a kid, you know, do you even know what a terrorist organization is? Does that concept
Nope,
even, like?
he definitely didn't. He really didn't. All right.
Go ahead.
Kevin, now flip it. Things about the 80s that you hated or that you didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And this could just be in your life or just in general.
All right. Whitewashed jeans.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I couldn't drive, right? I was just a little kid. This is tough though. Things I did not like about the 80s. Man, I love the 80s.
Blinking Nintendos.
Yeah, blowing in the cartridges.
I mean, I guess the thing I didn't like was I didn't have any money.
Oh. So did you have to play those Tiger handheld games then? Yeah, those.
Oh yeah, with the dashes, the football with the dashes and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, actually, LED games would probably be a good one to hate, right? It's funny because I had He-Man LED game, which sounds kind of awesome, but in practice it was ridiculously awful.
Someone
yeah, you got me on that one.
Someone just mentioned hairbands and cocaine.
Well, I definitely knew
sure
hairbands, but at that age, I definitely wasn't exposed to cocaine.
Okay, with your love of He-Man. Now, Kevin, do you remember the cartoon Conan?
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Wait, a cartoon Conan? A cartoon Conan?
Yeah, it was a cartoon
I think that's the 90s,
called Conan.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
Yeah, that's in the 90s.
Now, there used to be a debate people used to have in school. Yeah, Conan with his sword and He-Man against his. Who would win?
Man, I mean, I think He-Man wins that battle, even though I'm a huge Conan the Barbarian, like Arnold Schwarzenegger movie fan. But
True.
I mean, I just He-Man's sword is kind of magical, so.
It is true.
And that's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a single episode of this Conan cartoon. But
it's on
it's
on DVD. You can go to Amazon now and actually buy the series. It was actually pretty good.
What we'll do, I'm in the process. I'm gonna send you a link to one of the cartoons now. One of the Conan cartoons.
Yeah, it was made by the same writers from G.I. Joe, so it was like
a lot of
parachutes.
It wasn't parachutes in that.
No, it wasn't
no parachutes in that. They did have like a Native American guy. He had like a team. It was like a Native American, and then wasn't it like a dog or something?
What you mean on G.I. Joe?
No, Conan.
No, he was his family got turned to stone, and it was that serpent dude. He looked like the Serperto. What's his name? Serpert. I forgot his name. The dude from G.I. Joe. He like the villain from that. They just put it on Conan, and that's the whole TV show. Him trying to rescue his family. But the cartoon actually was pretty good. It must be good if they put it on DVD and bring it out nowadays. So he must have, it has a cult following. I mean.
Oh yeah, they had like an African. He had an African man too. He had an African guy that helped him out too. He had like the little yellow. He had like the little yellow wife beater. What was the wife beaters then? It was called T-shirts.
Hey, I know what question I want to ask Kevin. Now, this is a really no. Did you go see Transformers the movie in the movie theaters?
The very first one?
Yes, the best one.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Actually,
did
for
you
the
cry?
very first
Yes
one,
or no?
we took the whole company.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry. I already knew it didn't look like the ones I grew up with, so I was whatever sorrow I had, I'd already grieved and gotten over it by then.
Oh, okay. Because I remember we cried when Optimus Prime died.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're talking about the 1986 cartoon movie.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the 2007. I thought you wanted to
no, we never think of that. No.
Yeah, that never happened.
Okay.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, Michael Bay doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 1980s cartoon. I'm sorry, I should have been more clear about what I was saying. Yeah, I would never. I'm talking about the 80s with Galvatron and rest in peace to Leonard Nimoy too. You know what I mean? Playing the voice back then.
So I did not see that in the theaters. I did not get a chance to see it. I should have cried because of that. That was one where I think my family was there. I guess my parents more than my family, right? They were not into going to see kid stuff at the theater with me. The only thing I ever got to go to was the He-Man cartoon movie. Even the He-Man live-action movie, I had to wait till that thing came out on DVD, or not DVD, but VHS and rent it sometime later. But so so you can imagine, I was spoiled then. In the elementary school, this was pre-spoiler websites. This was elementary school classroom type of spoilers I got, and I knew that Optimus Prime died.
Yeah, brought a little tear to my eye.
Oh, I admit, I cried. I went to the movie, saw Transformers. Yeah, we cried. We didn't know.
You guys watch
that?
Yeah.
You say, Kevin?
Do you guys watch the Goldbergs? Do you watch the Goldbergs? Have you ever seen that TV show?
I saw like an episode.
Now, that's the one. It's kind of like I think it's on like ABC or NBC. That's on actual broadcast, right? I've never seen it.
It's on
I've heard of it.
It was like a TV
I'll tell you
series,
what.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a TV series. It's still on, but they'll do an episode about different stuff from the 80s that we experienced, and they had an entire episode about how crushed the kid was after going to see that movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he tried to tape his own version of it with, like, he had his grandpa wearing an Optimus Prime costume, and instead of dying, he was going to recover.
You know, I'm at the. I want
to see that. We wanted to get our correspondent to put that link up when he can.
Yeah, Shin Blade. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Now, another big cartoon in the 80s, but this one is a little bit more import, is Dragon Ball. And, of course, now Dragon Ball Z came out in 91, 92. So I love Dragon Ball Z, but I'm talking about Dragon Ball. It's an 80s cartoon.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball came out in 86. It actually came out in 85, but most people say 86. But do you get a lot of requests about Dragon Ball by any chance?
No, you are actually educating me on this. I had no idea that there was a regular Dragon Ball at all.
Wow, for real? Yeah.
Oh, for real.
One of the greatest cartoons ever made.
Anime.
Actually, It is the greatest. No, anime, manga, cartoon, whatever you want to call it. It's the nothing beat Dragon Ball. It's hands down.
Sorry, me being
the greatest cartoon.
Me being a technical one and being an artist, there's a difference. So it's the greatest anime probably ever been made.
Well, Dragon Ball started in 85, 86 by Akira Toriyama, and what happened was that when he was done in, I think, 90, 91, he started Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Z takes place 7 years after Dragon Ball, and then, the rest is history. But, Dragon Ball started in the late 80s, and, it's a very popular tea. It's the new movie, Dragon Ball movie, is coming out next month, like the 35th anniversary, some shit like that. But, it's coming out. And you might want to get on that. That's definitely hot.
So where did you watch the original cartoon? Like where? Like was it on TV?
So this is the funny part. I had a friend of mine whose brother was in the military, and he would send him tapes, and the tapes was dubbed because they dubbed it for him because he didn't know Japanese, and so they had subtitles. So I had to read it, and I didn't start watching it until about 88, '89. Matter of fact, around the same time The Simpsons started is when I had to catch up. So I start watching it, and then I stopped watching it when when it was done, and then I started watching Dragon Ball Z when I was in middle school. So that was like '93, '94, and I followed that because having friends who lived and did imports and stuff. Import and export got a lot easier in the '90s than it was in the early '80s and stuff. I mean, especially after the wars and stuff kind of ended. We had the Iraqi War, the Desert War that Bush and the first Bush did, and
Daddy Bush.
Yeah, Daddy Bush, the first war. Bushes just love doing wars and shit. So, after that war was done, it was a lot easier and I caught up with that and everything. Then by the 2000s era, it came in America, and Toonami, which is Cartoon Network's flag show for anime and stuff. They picked it up and started running it, and it pretty much took a beast of its own. It's voted one of the greatest animes of all time, and
yeah, it is.
It's in the top 5 of greatest cartoons of all time.
Shout outs to Piccolo though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Toph. Yeah,
wow.
Toph's live.
Welcome, Toph.
Hey, Kevin, this is one of our other correspondents and business partners, Toph. He's a Dragon Ball Z fan too, Dragon Ball fan.
Nice.
Hiya.
So Kevin,
this is awesome.
yeah,
I never knew that this exists.
You should really go back and watch. You should really.
I guess
Dragon Ball.
Some homework.
Yeah, watch Dragon Ball. It's a long cartoon though. It's going to take you a while. It's going to take you about a month.
It's not that long compared to some of the new stuff out there, like Naruto and Bleach. Now those are long. One Piece, that's still going.
But I'm talking about if he's going to binge it and just go straight in it, it might take him 2 weeks. But I'm talking about, he's a 37, 38-year-old guy with a business. He got a.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
time. That's why I'm like.
In that case, if you're in your 30s and you're busy, then I recommend you just watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. It sums it up like in 50 episodes.
So you wouldn't recommend him to see Dragon Ball first?
Well, that depends on how much free time he has.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And now I think about it. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Kai, it takes out all the filter, so it's just straight action.
Yeah.
That'll work. Just watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. But my question was do you have anybody to ask you about Dragon Ball shirts? Kevin.
Well, we have vendors that sell the Dragon Ball Z, but I'm going to ask them now about regular Dragon Ball for sure. I've never actually been asked about it. I'll be honest with you, we don't have, when we've tried to sell some anime stuff, some of the more current stuff, we haven't done great with it. But I don't know how you guys feel about Robotech, but we're going to be launching some Robotech shirts here real soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Robotech.
Yeah, man, anime is really hurting because of the internet. So.
It is. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you a tip too, Kevin. If it comes to anime, the best thing to do if you want to get a good positive feedback, you can try to break even. Maybe try to hit the more nostalgia, popular stuff, the older stuff, because any of the current stuff, like you said, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, One Piece, that kind of stuff tend to sell.
You're getting the old Gundams and stuff too.
I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you guys, but in my area down here, there was a store that was called Suncoast. I used to go there all the time when I was younger. Probably when I was middle school, high school. This would have been late 90s, early 2000s, and they would have anime. And what I liked about Suncoast was they were light years ahead of wherever they were on TV. So if they were showing the Frieza saga on Toonami, Suncoast, they were already at sale. And not only did they sell anime, but they also sold wrestling DVDs and VHS tapes, because DVDs were kind of the new thing. It was really cool. I used to go there all the time. But then by the mid 2000s, when the internet started to take off, Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, back when it was relevant, stuff like that, when YouTube first started, you could just upload stuff, and there was, back then YouTube was underground and nobody really cared.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really do that now of copyrights and stuff, but it made it very difficult to for stores and businesses like that, because it was like, why waste $15 on like an anime set when you can watch it for free on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, sadness.
Yeah, well, I guess
Sam Goody
for
too.
T-shirt wise though, it might not hurt as much, but I think T-shirt or the anime crowd, they know where to get stuff, and they're not getting it from us.
Yeah.
Well, that's your job to get their attention and come at it, from that perspective. Actually, Toph, and I bought my Dragon Ball Z shirts, the ones that I've been constantly complimented on, that a lot of people have seen in some of my pictures. My little silk Dragon Ball shirts. I have like 9 of them, and I still have them in good condition. And I remember getting them from Suncoast back in the day. After I had graduated high school, and I was noticing, I seen a silk button-down Dragon Ball Z shirt, with Goku and the gang and all on different shirts and stuff, and I'm like, wow, for some reason that was a thing back then, but the way like little samurai, and it was button-down shirts, but they had like ninjas and a lot of Japanese like images on it and stuff, and I saw Dragon Ball Z, and
right.
I started collecting them and everything. But
you remember those shirts?
Yeah, I
me
mean,
too. We sold
that would be a good avenue. As I would say a project. I mean, not something to really put too much energy in, but just I know as a business, you gotta make sure you at least break even, because you don't want to put yourself out there and then leave yourself in a hole. But I think it's an area that's not really well tapped into like it used to be. Maybe something you can go back and really utilize. Personally.
Yeah, definitely.
So real quick, Kevin, like I said, we thank you much for being on the show, taking time out your busy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let us know what is next for 80s Tees, and also featuring the 90s decade too. What's next for your company?
So, yeah, well, actually, we have some pretty cool stuff in the works. We're actually going to launch another site, and it's called It'll be called ThirstyPretzels.com. And what we're going to do there is it's going to be our own. Yeah, Thirsty Pretzels. And let me know if you know where that reference is. We'll see how.
I'll be finding out now.
But so that's going to be where we we do like our own little Kickstarter.
Am I right, Seinfeld?
So basically, like Seinfeld, exactly. Yeah, it's a
I love that show.
reference.
I thought so.
So on there we'll do cool products where we're going to design them and put them out there for the world to see, and it'll be more complex than T-shirts. So it'll be like some of our costume hoodies and some crazy hats and stuff like that. And if we hit a minimum number of orders, we'll make it, and if we don't, the product dies. So it's kind of like Kickstarter in that way. But we're going to focus them all on this site as opposed to going out to a Kickstarter and doing it there. And then the other thing we're going to be launching is basically pre-orders on the 80s Tees site. So similar concept, but this will be with like T-shirts and less complex products. So same idea where it might be something that right now we're kind of nervous about bringing in because we don't know if it'll sell. So now we're gonna put it out there and give people a couple weeks to see if they want to buy it or not. And if we get some hits on it and people buy it, we'll bring it in. And anyone that pre-orders is gonna have a good benefit of a nice, real low price. So that's in exchange for buying something before we actually have it, you get a good deal. So, and that's kind of the way Thirsty Pretzels was going to work too. If you're like one of the first people to buy it, you're going to pay less, and the longer that it sells, the price continues to go up towards its eventual retail price. So the idea there is get people to commit early by giving them a really good price.
Okay.
Definitely like that. definitely do. That being said, we thank so much, Kevin, for you coming on to the show. Hopefully you had fun. Told you we didn't even talk anything about wrestling. We talked about a bunch of other things as well.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys. I really appreciate you having me on.
No problem. I definitely will be talking to you off air within the week about some other things we talked about beforehand, as far as shirts and merchandise and some ideas. So, anything else you need to plug? Anything else you need to plug before we let you go?
No, I guess just ask everyone to come check our site out. If you saw our conversation today, it was kind of fun. I think you will like the site. So,
cool.
All right.
To check out ADTs. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. Have a blast.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. It's great talking with you, man. Hope
to
bring you back again.
Thanks, Kevin.
We'll do. Yeah, definitely. Bye-bye.
All right, man.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Everybody, that was Kevin Stecko, owner of ADTs.com, featuring the 90s decade, featuring now Salty Pretzels, which is a Seinfeld reference. I do love that show. We do hear, coming in now, we have Toph. Welcome, Toph. Live.
Toph is back.
From
yep,
the
I'm black and
streets.
Yeah, I'm black and stuff, so you know how that is.
The mean streets. I'm sorry, that's the wrong person. Speaking of mean streets and areas, we do hear also have live elite correspondent Shin Blade. Welcome from the mean streets of Hawaii.
You need to let that Hawaii stuff go, man. Do you have something against Hawaii?
Ever since Shin mentioned it, it's been a famous topic. No, it's not. I think he's starting to get some street cred now from the listeners because he's from the ghettos of Hawaii. Shin, are you there? I hear nothing.
I'm not going to dignify that response.
Oh, Shin's here. Okay. Speaking of that, Shin,
I thought the ninjas of Hawaii got him.
He said ninjas of Hawaii. Okay.
Oh, I love the show.
On a serious note, Shin, please, if you can, we tried to mention your Twitter handle. Could you go ahead and mention it?
No, I'm not gonna mention it this week. People, if they don't get it, they just don't get it. I just let it die, let it be.
Well, it is Sensational One on Twitter, right? Just to make sure.
It still is.
What is that? Noise in the back. On that note,
moving on along.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're here. This is the moment everybody's been waiting for. We'll now officially be talking about WrestleMania's worst. And I do know people will be calling in because they do want to get into this topic of the worst WrestleManias. Now, here are the guidelines.
11.
I say WrestleManias.
Okay, wait. Before we start, can we all just acknowledge 11's the worst and not talk about it?
Yep.
There's one worse than 11.
Okay.
Yeah, in my viewpoint.
Alrighty. Okay.
Just a smidge, but okay. We mentioned roast WrestleMania. It's not just the whole WrestleMania card. There will be other topics to be discussed, such as WrestleMania as a whole, the full show. Then we'll go to worst WrestleMania matches. Then we'll roast the WrestleMania attires, entrances, finishes, botches, WrestleMania sets,
Michael Cole
songs,
versus Jerry Lawler,
so forth and so on. Oh, there's one worse than that too. So,
Goldberg
with that being
versus
said, since Toph is jumping the gun and he wants to talk about worst WrestleMania matches, Toph starts off with Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole, which I believe was at WrestleMania 27. Was that it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Thank you, NSC Game Boy. He was there live. Sad to say about that match. Shane, give your thoughts on why Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole were so bad.
Oh, it sucked. Moving on.
It gotta be more than that.
Oh, it was too long, and it was 31 minutes probably. So.
Anybody else have anything to say about?
Just let me know when you want me to do a pipe bomb on 27. I'll bury that show.
Oh, shit. Why don't you go ahead and just bury it?
Yeah, you might as well.
It was bad. So.
Yeah, now I'll go ahead and just bury the show now. First of all, I went to the show because it was a graduation gift. I got a bachelor's degree, communications, and my mom, she had been raising some money on the side, surprised me, gave me the ticket, and I was like, cool, man, thanks, I really appreciate it. I'll go check out the Mania. That show sucked, man. That was like one of the worst shows I've ever been to. The show was so bad. It was so bad that WWE went out their way to add crowd reactions. And if you don't believe me, if you got the WWE Network, go ahead and look at WrestleMania 27 now, and you're going to look at it, and the show's going to feel different. You're going to be like, I don't remember this happening. You don't remember it happening because the crowd reactions were garbage. No one cared. It sucked. The entire match, the whole card. Okay, first of all, Del Rio won the 40-man Rumble, which they made as a big deal, and then for winning the Rumble, he got the opening match against Edge. So it buried the Rumble, and it buried the Rumble credibility because before that, those that won the Rumble would be the main event or like the co-main event, and it buried the World Heavyweight Championship because it was the first match, though Edge did end up retiring, but because of the unfortunate circumstances of it being the opening match, it's just going to be a really bad match overall. Cody Rhodes fought Rey Mysterio. That was a good gem. No one really talks about it. That was a good match. There was this filler 8-man tag between 8 mid-card guys that went like 2 minutes. It was ridiculous. Randy Orton fought CM Punk in a match no one cared about. The Undertaker versus Triple H, don't even get me started on that. And then you had The Miz and John Cena. Okay, here's the deal. Here's the thing about this match. The thing is, The Miz and John Cena, they actually had good matches in the past when Miz was like an upper mid-card guy. They actually had good matches in the past, but for whatever reason that night, it just didn't connect. Their chemistry was off. It was very sloppy. Just go back and look at the match. It wasn't good at all. JR tried to defend him on commentary. He tried to defend Cena, saying that in storyline, Cena was so focused on The Rock, he couldn't focus on The Miz, which is why he was off his game. The match just was not good. I know Miz suffered a concussion in the match, and people use that. But the difference is when he suffered the concussion, it was like 20 minutes through the match, which doesn't affect the other 20 minutes of how bad it was. Speaking of The Rock, they built up the whole show like The Rock was going to fight John Cena because they knew that was how bad the card was. People were tuning in just to see what The Rock would do. Even though Miz was the champion, the main focus was Rock Cena. So at the end of the show, The Rock laid out Miz and Cena. So let's talk about this from a wrestling purist standpoint, okay? So Cena at this point is supposed to be the present, Miz is the future, and Rock's the past, and he lays out both of them. What kind of message does that say? You know what I'm saying? Like, how messed up is that, And then to make it worse, as a huge FU, they make Rock versus Cena the very next night at WrestleMania. Okay, so what about Triple H? What about Taker? That was a good match. Yeah, it was a good match, but here's the problem with that match. The story behind the match made no sense. And I'll tell you why. If you remember, The Undertaker had been buried by Nexus. Yeah, I don't forget that stuff. I'm not stupid, WWE. The Undertaker had been buried by Nexus. And so when Taker came back, they just completely ignored it, and they didn't do anything. And if you remember before that, Triple H had got taken out by Sheamus. And if you remember, Sheamus won King of the Ring, and they were building him up as a heel, and you were expecting a payoff. And then when Triple H came back, he just pedigreed Sheamus on the table, and that was the end of it. Just Triple H burying people, And then what was Triple H's reasonings for challenging Taker? See, on storyline, you would think, wait a minute, the previous year, The Undertaker retired Shawn Michaels. So maybe Triple H is challenging The Undertaker for revenge. You took out my friend, and now I'm going to take you out. Was that the story? No. The story was, I have nothing left to do in WWE. No one back there is worth my time, so I'm going to fight the streak. How selfish are you? You just buried the whole roster. Who does that, And then to make it worse, they acted as if the match never happened at Mania 17 and only acknowledged it when the match was over. And so then they had a good match. Okay, it was, I wouldn't say it was a good match. It was okay. It was, the drama was there, especially when Triple H used the tombstone on Taker. Everyone thought the streak was over, but it wasn't over. But here's the worst part, though. They went ahead and they did the match again the very next year at WrestleMania 28. So one of the main matches at WrestleMania 27 was Triple H Taker. you were under the impression that it was going to end there, but they did it the very next year. You thought you were going to see Cena versus Rock at 27, but instead you got it at 28. So in short, 27 was a promotional tool for 28. It was filler. And that's great. Great if you live in Miami, but if you live in Atlanta or if you actually attended the show, guess what? You just wasted your money. It was filler. 27 was filler to 28, and that's all there is to it. It's not the worst WrestleMania, but out of like the generation of kids today, like from 20 to 30. Yeah. From WrestleMania 20 to WrestleMania 30, 27 is like the worst, hands down. And anyone that defends that show, I will slap you.
Well, actually, I will say this.
Well,
20. You're right about 27. But to be honest with you, I did believe Undertaker and Triple H was a good match. It did beat the one at 17, I believe. You're actually right. And not to forget that Snooki was in the match, and that was like mediocre at best. But the 8-man tag got cut. The popcorn match. The 8-man tag match was cut short because of Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler, so you had to blame that match because they had a rematch on SmackDown that was tons better than that. And then you said the 10 years though, so I'm with you on that one because to tell you the truth, I'm going to 31, and I don't believe 31 is going to be a good show.
I skipped over the J.R. King thing, but outside of me, the J.R. King thing was, Cole King. Yeah, that went like 15 minutes or whatever. I don't know what it is about Steve Austin, but any match he refs just turns to trash for some reason.
The segment was about 35 minutes, and the actual match time was like 13 minutes.
In short, WrestleMania 27 was the first WrestleMania of this generation, like from 20 to 30. It was the first WrestleMania, like when it was done, it felt like you watched like a 3-hour Raw. It didn't feel like you watched the Mania. It felt like you watched a 3-hour Raw. Like with the exception of Taker Triple H, it literally felt like you watched a 3-hour Raw. It didn't feel special. To me, that show was a sign of the decline of the product because ever since that show happened, you've been hearing that a lot more these days where people watch a pay-per-view and it's like, I feel like I just watched a 3-hour SmackDown. You shouldn't be hearing that for WrestleMania. That's what you hear for a B-show pay-per-view like Fastlane that no one cares about.
Wait, Fastlane isn't even B. That's not even B-list. Don't even go there.
Hold up. You know what?
That's D-list.
Let me say something for a minute. That makes a lot of sense.
Real quick, just to be clear, the topic officially now is the worst WrestleMania show as a whole. We're not going to talk about matches, anything else. The topic right now is 11. The worst WrestleMania. No, 11. I'm saying, George, you can go ahead, but I just wanted to mention that. Go ahead, George.
I want to elaborate what Toph is saying because this is what my fifth WrestleMania in a row. You know what I mean? I've been to 27, I've been to 28, I've been to 29, I've been to 30, and I'm going to 31. And I didn't realize until Toph just said it, and I'm thinking about it, I said, I went to 28, and 28 was the truth. Like, when I left out of there, The Rock won, I felt good. The kids was all mad. I'm laughing at them because John Cena lost and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I knew John Cena was going to lose. Then when I went to 29 was bad. It was rainy, it was cold, and besides the CM Punk match with Undertaker, it felt like it was building up for 30. Then when I went to 30, 30 was all magical, and I didn't think about it till Toph just said it, and it's like every other WrestleMania is building up for the very next WrestleMania.
And they're doing it again.
I'm starting to see the pattern there.
And they're doing it again this year because this year is filler to Sting versus Taker. It's filler to Sting versus Taker. So to all the listeners out there, save your money for 32.
Let's stick on WrestleMania 27. Okay. So Mania 27. I was there live. Thanks to NBC Game Boy. Mania 27 was a okay WrestleMania. It was not the worst. It was okay. It did feel like a 3-hour Raw, and all of the attention was on The Rock. And once again, people tend to forget that quick. Oh yeah, The Miz did main event WrestleMania, and he was WWE champion going into a WrestleMania, which everyone tends to forget.
Okay, Tech, would you at least agree that 27 is the worst of this era, though?
Is that really?
Yeah.
Is that really The Miz's fault? Is that really The Miz's fault? No. Because you also got to have the machines that back you.
Well, it was circumstance and fans also. And,
Either way,
to tell you the truth, with the Miz, I believe that, and people crap on the Miz a lot. I would too as a character, but I believe he does work hard as a man. Like he tries, and people can't.
Right.
They can't get over. They can't get over the real world reality star thing that happened. But personally, it just doesn't. It just doesn't mix with the crowd.
But once again, let's stick on the topic here, WrestleMania. We're not arguing about who the Miz is. The Miz does it. But when you're the Miz and when you get put in that sandwich of Rock and Cena, you can't expect people to remember who the Miz is. And they kept promoting all the WrestleMania, The Rock, the special.
I think
special
attraction. Yeah, he was the guest host or whatever.
Guest host.
I think the unfortunate reality is that it doesn't matter who John Cena fought in that main event. WWE had already made up their mind that they were going to do Cena Rock. 27 was going to be a promotional tool to promote the next year, and regardless of who Cena fought that year, they would have been forgettable, and clearly that was the last straw for CM Punk. Not trying to get too off topic, but that always bothered him that he didn't main event. But again, Miz did main event that show, but in the grand scheme, what did it really mean? Nothing.
Well, personally, I'm glad that Punk didn't main event that.
Wait, we're not discussing Punk. We're not discussing Punk. Please, no Punk, because that's gonna go way off topic. And I had people about to call in, and I do not want to.
Like you did.
Yeah.
Wait, I made a point just like you did, and I was pushing the point that you made. So you are telling me that you were right about the Miz. He got buried within circumstance. He was a champion, but if Punk, what he said was that he was mad that he didn't do it, but in hindsight, it was glad that he didn't do it. I was just going on your point.
No, it wasn't against you, Shan. I was making an overall announcement for people calling in, is that we will not be talking about CM Punk, because once you mention that word, it's a trigger word, and everybody's going to be flooding. Yeah. So you get, Shan, I agree with you saying. I'm just making an informal announcement that we will not be turning this into a CM Punk not getting his chance at WrestleMania. I agree with what Shan is saying. I agree with what Toph. I agree with what y'all saying. That's what I meant. But we will not be talking about CM Punk and how he should have made event media. We can make points like we were saying about Punk. That's fine.
And WrestleMania's history from the. Are you going?
Now the one of the worst points that I thought of, and it's also by circumstance, two points because they both involved Triple H, was WrestleMania 18 and WrestleMania 25.
Yes.
Where he main evented both of them, but it was overshadowed because 18 was Rock and Hogan, which everybody paid their money to see, and then 25 was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, where everybody ended up seeing and liking, and 25 just ended so damn awkward. It was like the Royal Rumble, and they had this build up, and they had this match, and the match was just like who left seat.
25 had a lot of potential that was unrealized.
So Shane, do you say that 25 out of the decade of WrestleMania 20 to 30, would you say 25 was worse than 27?
I can't say it because Shawn Michaels and Undertaker went up. It made the fans exhausted after that match, and then plus there were other matches that were entertaining as well, like Rey Mysterio beating JBL and handing him into retirement, which that was a quick Ronda Rousey-esque match, but it was just like what happened. it was in Jericho fighting 3 legends. So it was, to me, it was more entertaining than 27. So I can't say it's worse.
25 had a lot of gems. It had Hardy versus Hardy and that no DQ match. A lot of people forget about. That was a good match. It had the Money in the Bank match, which is always fun to watch. It had those matches Shin just said. So the undercard for 25 was good. The problem was Taker Sean should have main evented. They couldn't follow that. That's the reality of it.
There was one flaw. There was one flaw compared to 27, Toph, and 25. There's 2 flaws. I named one of them. The other flaw was the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal.
Oh, yeah. That was dumb, too.
And part of that was, one, it was a Divas match, so WWE does. But also, there were returning Divas that no one mentioned until, when the match started.
Then there was the tag team title match that was made a dark match at the last moment.
Yeah, that was horrible. I mean, it was a good match, but it shouldn't have been a dark match. That was just for everybody to get paid. That was for everybody to get paid, though.
25, 27, and 29, I think, were the worst of this generation.
Now, it is a Game Boy?
Yes. I have to agree with Toph. I was at 27, I was at 29, and they were both horrible. I left out of there 27, the only reason it was good because it was my first WrestleMania, and I was pumped, but I felt like I just got finished watching Raw. You know what I mean? And 29, I was really pissed because I think one of the matches was Mark Henry versus Ryback or some shit like that, and then it
King
was
Kong versus Godzilla.
Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. It was just bullshit. And then it's just that when you go to WrestleMania, and that's something Jim Ross was talking about. WrestleMania is still WrestleMania. It's supposed to be this big, extravagant thing, just like the Super Bowl. This past Super Bowl was pretty good compared to last year's Super Bowl when the Broncos played the Seahawks and they got destroyed. You feel me? Some people feel like that one wasn't that great, and this one was pretty good. I ain't like neither one of them because my team didn't play. So, but you still watch. Well, the WrestleMania is, it's a little different because you're going to watch, but you're expecting the show to be good because the people who's booking the show either been there before or should know how to do their job. And it's like all these WrestleManias are just building up for the next WrestleMania. As we all know, WrestleMania 32 is going to be in Dallas. So I feel that this WrestleMania, which the card doesn't look that great, the matches, it don't feel like I really want to go. I'm going for tradition. I'm not going because, I want to see Sting in the WWE. No, I really don't. You know what I mean? That's not the reason I'm going.
Business.
Can I bury 29 too?
Like Jim Ross mentioned, and like I mentioned before, we cannot talk about WrestleMania 31 until
it happens.
It happens. It may not be what we may think it should, but we cannot talk about it as a whole until it's easy.
I'm talking about it as an opinion, which I can do that.
Yeah,
can I bury 29 now?
If I walk down a dark alley and I see guys there and I have an opinion that I might get robbed,
you're not going to win, Toph.
Chances is I might get robbed.
Right, but I get that.
So you're not going to win, Toph.
WWE still don't even know what they're going to do for Mania. So like Jim Ross said, and
that's the most confusing part of it because it's their show. And they don't know what they're doing, and that's the part that makes my trust in them even more depressing. Is the fact that we are 3 weeks from WrestleMania, and they still don't got everything together. Do you really want to see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar?
But who
is that what the world want to see? Is Brock Lesnar really going to be there? You know what I'm saying?
Come on, he's going to be there. It's a contract. He's going to show up. He's not going to be there afterwards. He's going to UFC. But Brock's going to be there. Come on, it's a payday. He's in his contract. He's trying to Mania. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying legit. And I know for a fact.
I've seen things happen.
I get that. But I'm telling you legit. As I know inside sources, Brock Lesnar will be there. He will WrestleMania. He will wrestle for Mania. because Brock is about the money. He's a businessman. But will he be there after Raw? He probably won't.
Hell no.
He's going back to UFC.
I think he will.
So now the Raw. Now we can debate on if he show up at Raw. He'll be at Mania.
I think Vince is gonna cave and let him do both.
Y'all can see, but like I said, I agree with what everybody's saying about WrestleMania coming up. It's not shaping up to be the best card. WWE don't even know what they're going to do. And let's remember, WWE's been doing this the past few years, but they still, like NXT Game Boy said, they still don't know what they're doing. Weeks leading up to it. Because remember last year what was the main event supposed to be? What was the main event for last year Mania supposed to be? Orton and Batista, right?
It was a triple threat.
Mm-hmm.
No,
they changed
originally,
last minute.
Originally it was going to be
yeah.
Right. And then they decided, like NXT Game Boy said, the fans, and he brought in Daniel Bryan.
I'm going to tell you right now, the sleeper match of the night is going to be Wade Bryant and Undertaker. Mark my words.
You know
that's
what?
That's going to be the sleeper match of the night.
You know,
it's Bray Wyatt and Undertaker.
I can't even say that. I can't even say that because we know how much in good condition Undertaker is.
I just had this feeling because Undertaker, I was at WrestleMania 30 and I watched it on television on the D. Undertaker looked bad.
Exactly.
Like I don't know if it was Brock just beating on him that bad.
Well,
he looked bad.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of mystery going on.
Well,
there's a lot of mystery, man. Because Taker, when he worked with Punk, he looked good, but when he worked with Lesnar, he didn't. Yeah, he did. You know, and I understand the concussion can make you slow, but he just didn't look right last year. You know, I don't know what happened.
He didn't, Toph. I'm trying to tell you, he did not look. He did not look like he belonged in the ring. He looked like he needed some more time.
Mhm.
And he wants to make that up. I'm trying to tell you. He going to go hard. Like, this year, he going to go hard, and this is going to set up with him and Sting next year, and he going to finally retire. Matter of fact, they probably going to put both of them in the Hall of Fame together.
When you get your belt rung, early in the match by...
Hello?
Sorry. Hello, Shin?
We losing Shin.
So it's Hawaiian Ninjas, man.
Yeah.
Shin, are you there? Real quick, guys. Shin's call drop. We're gonna bring in a caller. Area code 954. Welcome to Under the Mat Radio.
Hello.
Yes. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. My name's Patrick, and just want to think about supposedly, I don't really know about seeing this ever happening. What if I don't know if people were predicting this, but what if I don't know if it'll be it could. I want to see if Undertaker. First of all, I want to say is I highly doubt we are likely to see the Undertaker ever show up before WrestleMania. First of all, because we've seen that's happened before, where they're setting up a match, but he doesn't even show up until the pay-per-view, pretty much, and then But yeah, and supposedly what I want to see happen, I hope they don't do this, and have Bray Wyatt beat the Undertaker in let's say in an 8-minute match.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so you feel we won't see Taker to Mania. You feel Undertaker's gonna beat Bray Wyatt at Mania?
Yeah. Well, Because one thing is not that it's just an opinion, but some people are saying that Undertaker, it's almost like with Sting. People are saying Sting has to win because there's no way Sting is just gonna wrestle if it's gonna be just there's no way. People are saying there's no way Sting is gonna wrestle his first and only match in WWE and lose, and then there's no way, and then people are saying there's no way Undertaker is gonna go away with 2 straight losses at WrestleMania. So yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I beg to differ. I think he should lose, and by him losing twice, and the third time might be the one where he has to come back. You know the 3-strike rule. He lost to Brock Lesnar. He lost to Bray Wyatt. and this is his last time to go out with a bang in, WrestleMania of next year. I think it might be more strategic as a storyline for him to lose and come back even stronger as a third time. Like, if he don't do it this time, he done. That would be more of an underdog story and making the Undertaker an underdog, because the Undertaker hasn't been an underdog in years. You know, as long as we know, he always won. So
because remember, he's not as good as he used to be due to his age. And the thing is also, not that it matters now, but Sting, he's in his mid-50s and he still got it. He's in his 50s and he still got it. Mhm. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and also first of all, I just want to say Sting. Yeah. And also first of all, one thing about Sting is I really hate this at all. But for some reason, last night on Raw, they're giving out these theories. Where has Sting been? Where has he been all these years? Well, you should know where he has been, but you can't say it on television. You know where he's been.
Right. That is true.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I have a theory for you. I have a theory for you. For the last 12 years, he's been in TNA.
Did somebody just whisper?
Yeah, I don't know.
That is
I think they're doing it that way to build up the match. They want to build up the match. Even though he's been in TNA, according to WWE, nobody has seen or heard from him. He has been gone. Nobody has seen him since the last Nitro.
Well,
you're not going to.
To be honest with you, WWE is doing that no naming thing. They can't say TNA, and they just say
clearly they will never mention him ever being in TNA.
For Sting fans who know how his career was going,
Right. Yeah. Caller. Can we get your name?
Me?
Yeah, caller. Yeah, can we get your name?
My name's Patrick.
Patrick. Okay. All right. Thanks so much for calling in, Patrick. Anything else to add real quick?
Enjoy the show, man. Thank you.
All
right. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Good old buddy Patrick calling in from Florida.
That's what's up. He has some interesting points, though. Interesting points.
Oh, yes, he is. Definitely is. Now,
you haven't said what you thought was the worst Mania, Tech. What's your thought about it?
You mean WrestleMania is an all-time? We just mean 20 to 30.
No, you clearly feel there's one that's worse than 27. So of all time, what's your worst one?
Oh no! I said there was one worse than WrestleMania 9. 20. I have this theory that for WrestleMania, odd numbers don't match. Whenever there's an odd number Mania, it tends to be bad, and whenever the even number Manias tend to be good. From WrestleMania 1 on to about 10, pretty much all of them were good. 1 through 10, good Manias. Some a little better than others, but overall, good quality shows. Of course, look at the talent. After WrestleMania 10, it seems like the odd number Manias sucked, and all the even number Manias were good. Hence to what I said. Now, I agree with y'all. I was there for 27. I will have to say, I do agree. WrestleMania 27, out of the 20 to 30 WrestleMania span, is the worst out of them all. 28, for some reason, it was a better Mania than 27. I just think the main event just fell flat. Even though everybody wanted to see Cena and Rock, the main event was just flat. But the whole card itself was
I thought 28 reminded me of a UFC show, because when you build up a UFC show, you have this one big match, and then you have all this other filler stuff that no one cares about. And it was like they built up Rock Cena for a year, and I mean, to WWE's credit, they did build up the other matches like Punk Jericho and Taker Triple H, but we all knew what people were paying their money for, which was Rock Cena. They didn't put as much focus on the undercard as they could have that year, but I wouldn't say that show was bad. I thought it was okay.
Right. Now, let's move away from WrestleMania 20 to 30. Let's go on to the early Manias, from WrestleMania 10 to 20.
I actually
Real
talked
quick,
to you, Tech, earlier today about, because I want you to explain this point. Now, You were saying before my connection here, for some reason, is going haywire in my section of Baltimore. We talked earlier today, and you said 13 wasn't that good, and I thought it was because it was the beginning of something.
I didn't like 13 at all.
I've been back and forth with 13 for years,
I don't like.
we'll
get
to that later.
I don't like 13. Since Shin brought it, I do have my second analysis on, in my opinion, the worst WrestleManias of WrestleMania, starting with WrestleMania 9, and then from this point on, then we can talk about the other ones. WrestleMania 9, most people agree. Jim Ross said he don't remember it being any good. Toph, you hate 9. I know Shin, you hate WrestleMania 9. Game Boy.
I can't remember.
I was behind 11.
I'm not as accurate on WrestleManias as y'all are. As you have to tell me matches, and then I can start remembering. You can't tell me WrestleMania 12.
I've actually met some fans that love 9, and they defend it. They say that they love the pageantry of 9.
And that's where they're wrong.
That's the outside.
WrestleMania 9 was horrible.
The pageantry of 9 is the outside of it. It was good as far as the outside, but on the inside, it wasn't. It was just another episode of Raw, like Tech said.
Actually, it was an episode of Superstars with WrestleMania being added to it. like Shin mentioned, all you need to know of WrestleMania 9, overall card was lackluster. Oh, yeah, there was Taker versus John Gonzalez. That never happened.
No.
The Bobby Shmurda Crow, which actually showed up with Undertaker. DLC content was the Bobby Shmurda Crow.
I will say this.
I know I
thought that was rating, right?
I will say this about worst WrestleManias, from like the ones the child years to the teen years to the adult years. Most of the bad ones, just based off my memory, were in those teen years, like between 10 and 20, like Tech said.
Yeah,
I can give you like 4 of them off the top of my head that weren't good.
Yeah, we'll let you get to that. WrestleMania 9 sticks out specifically for me. I won't say it's the worst, and I'll get to in my opinion, my worst. WrestleMania 9 also had Mr. Perfect versus the narcissist Lex Luger. That never happened. DLC downloadable content was Hogan coming out at the end of the Yoko Bret Hart match. Where Yokozuna wins the title, Hogan downloads and wins the title back, which I remember specifically because an old childhood friend, Shem, shout out to Shem, and this Game Boy knows what I'm talking about. We actually found out, and we actually got mad, because Shem let me hold the VHS tape back when we used to trade tapes. And I watched it and got really upset, and everybody in the neighborhood got mad because Hogan has popped up and has won the titles he always did. Don't forget, elephants was also here, and all these other random animals that was there for WrestleMania 9.
It was a lot of controversy behind that because the whole thing was that wasn't it supposed to be Bret and Hogan, but they went against that and they just put Yokozuna in there.
Yeah.
And then the way they handed the titles off left and right, even Bret said many times. He said Hogan didn't want to fight, and that was it. So, if it happened, then that WrestleMania would have been good.
In my opinion, the worst WrestleMania, the WrestleMania that was worse than 9 was WrestleMania 11.
But we all know that.
That's what everybody said.
That's established as the worst by everybody.
But even at 11 and 13, I'm not, and I don't even like WrestleMania 15 at all. I don't.
Why is that?
WrestleMania 11. WrestleMania 11. Let's not forget Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam, match of the forearms. Also had DLC DLC included.
The big four.
Hold up, that's the one with Shawn Michaels and Diesel, right?
Right.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay,
yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, but it didn't main event.
Yeah, Taylor and Bam Bam.
That was
match.
bad. That's the one they showed on television.
Yeah, let me know when you want me to get on 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
They showed it on television. That's how bad it was.
And that was the publicity match in 11 because everybody was talking about it, and that's when the celebrity thing started taking off. Also, when celebrities got involved with the product,
11 was what
just kept going around. So they was like,
11 was what WWF, from a celebrity standpoint, it was what they needed. Business was not good. They were still suffering from the steroid thing with Hogan. You know, so when all those celebrities participated in 11, I think 11 might have had like the most celebrity appearances of any Mania. I got to check that. It was really good. It was really good for their media publicity. Media-wise, it was a hit. But but they sacrificed the wrestling aspect of it. The storylines weren't good. The matches weren't good. The booking wasn't good. You know, booking-wise, it just wasn't a good show. But it was what WWF needed at the time. They needed some positive revenue. And that was what Vince McMahon had at the time. So
Toph, don't forget
Damn.
that WWE, just to solidify how bad WrestleMania 11 was. On that recap video, they only showed Lawrence Taylor form and Bam Bam 4 times. Oh yeah,
yep.
and Undertaker body slamming King Kong Bundy. That's it.
It was 3 million. It was 3 million times Ted, when he forearmed him. But I will.
Well, yeah.
I will say this, but Toph, I'm gonna tell you like this. You were right about the steroids case. Now let me give you a point. Now I'm gonna end it with a point for you. Also for fans, if you remember vaguely and if you really remember WrestleMania 11, this was the debut before the debut of Steve Mongo McMichael. He was one of the lumberjacks that was in that match with Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow. But, Toph, to your point is that how positive can it be for WWF to have a match with a coke-snorting young prostitute having guy, Lawrence Taylor, and leg-breaking guy? Yeah.
Also, don't forget WrestleMania 11. It also included the downloadable content was the Stridex blimp, Jeff Jarrett's busted nose, the John Todd urn. Don't forget about that. The huge urn that Ted DiBiase had, and the sabotage spot where HBK purposely sold the Jackknife Powerbomb ugly to mess up Diesel's championship run, which was confirmed by Kevin Nash in the shoot interview.
How about the Special Olympics singer that sung the national anthem?
Oh yeah, that Oh man.
So I want to talk about WrestleMania's
case table on these sandwiches.
WrestleMania and giant Yokozuna.
Hold on, fellas. Hold on for a minute. Go ahead, Toph.
I was going to talk briefly about WrestleMania 12, WrestleMania 13, and WrestleMania 2000. WrestleMania 12, the card was short, very short for WrestleMania, mostly because of the Bret-Shawn Michaels match went for an hour. I love Bret, love Shawn, but I'll be honest, I wasn't really too crazy about this match. It was a lot of rest holds. I actually thought Rock and Triple H... Right. I actually thought Rock Triple H had better Iron Man matches, to be honest. That was the one Warrior squashed Triple H. Taker fought Diesel there. There was a really underrated match, 2 underrated matches. One was Stone Cold against Savio Vega. They had good matches. And there was And there was this cool impromptu brawl between Piper and Goldust because I think they were supposed to get Razor, but I think Razor was in trouble at the time or something. I don't know. But the show as a whole, it was whatever. But mostly, here I want to talk about 13. 13, this is a show that I've been flip-flopping. Like, of all the pay-per-views over the years, this is the show that I flip-flopped the most over. Right now, as of this moment, and I could be wrong, I looked it up before, WrestleMania 13 is the only WrestleMania in history. Now think about this. WrestleMania 13 is the only WrestleMania in history that did not sell out. Didn't sell out. WrestleMania always sells out. It didn't sell out. Now, see, here's the problem. Here's the problem with WrestleMania 13. WrestleMania 13 is like the middle school. You know, like when you're in 8th grade, you're not an adult yet, but you're not a kid either. You're in the middle. 1997 was strange. In 97 was strange because technically it wasn't it wasn't the Attitude Era yet, but you could see the changes. But they weren't the new generation either. They were in a transitional period, and at that point, WCW was hot with the NWO and Sting and just everything they were doing. If you look at the 13 card, it wasn't that bad. I mean, you had Bret and Stone Cold. You had Sid and Taker. You had the LOD against the Nation. You had Owen Hart and British. Right, with Ahmed. You had Owen and Davey against Mankind and Vader. You had Triple H against Goldust. I mean, if you look at the card, I mean, they really had a lot of unique talents there, but it was just in a transitional time when WCW was just, they were taking forefront. I mean, they were just the hot topic at the time. And, you know, most people say if you take away Brett and Stone Cold, nobody would care about this Mania. I think for the most part that's mostly accurate. I don't want to say this card was bad because it wasn't bad, but I will say that this was just a transitional period for WWF. They didn't know, Vince didn't know the direction of the company at the time, and I think that's one of the reasons why 13 is just so, you know, yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, the Game Boy, get us at 13.
I remember Brett, and I remember Austin passing out, and I think I don't even remember the championship match of that year. I don't remember
the first one. The first one was the tag championships for the 4-way, which was like the Headbangers, the New Blackjacks, Godwins, and Furnace and LaFon. The Intercontinental Championship, which nobody talks about, is Rocky Maivia, when he was Rocky Maivia, versus
the Sultan.
Rikishi, which was the Sultan. And like I said, nobody talks about it. And
this was the only time you ever saw The Rock's dad with him, too.
I made a mistake. The Four Corners match was number one contendership to the tag titles. The tag title match was Owen Hart and the British Bulldog versus Mankind and Vader, which was awkward. And then after that, it was Undertaker and Sid for the title, which Undertaker got in a car accident like the day before.
Very strange card.
Don't forget the WWE Championship match with Sid Vicious and all his flowing with sweat in his vest was against Undertaker, and
I did say
some interesting notes. Yeah, but some interesting notes too with 13, which also let you know about the transitions. First, there was a lot of body slams in this WrestleMania for some reason. It was at least 4 per match. First and only time you see The Rock wear those white calf boots again. DLC, Rocky Johnson with his red velveteen blazer, and did a little wind-up punch. Which remember, the 4 kids didn't know who Rocky Johnson was. Nonetheless, the only thing they knew The Rock had a dad. So when he came out, if you watched the unedited version of WrestleMania 13, he got no pop. People just wondering who he was.
That's the only time The Rock was black.
Yeah,
those first months. That's about it.
American Rock. Also,
that was the only time The Rock was black, because like NXT Game Boy said, he was Samoan.
Yeah, true. The only time he let his black side show up. Triple H is a flying clothesline, which he's never done in any other match since. The return of the mini urn. Remember, the urn went back to the original size of WrestleMania 13. Funny note, too, Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog, did the exact same spots he did with Vader, just that no one knew because he did those in WCW.
Yeah,
they have to act like they were all brand new. And also something I totally forgot about noticing this. Anybody remember that Bret Hart did not 1, but 3 run-ins during the main event?
Yeah, he did that. Very convoluted.
He ran in the attack. He ran.
He did 4 because he ran in before the match started.
Yeah, he did the jackknife. He got powerbombed. Then he ran in and we hit Sid with a chair. Then he ran in and he dropped Sid around the ropes.
He ran in before the match where he did that pussyfoot injury promo on Shawn Michaels, and Vince was trying to hold him back without holding him back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now let's go to WrestleMania 15 real quick before we change topics.
To tell you the truth, here's a random thought.
Not a big fan of this. Okay.
Here's a random thought for you. This was the only WrestleMania that every title that the WWF had was defended.
WrestleMania 15?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, right now, you guys are entering the holy grail of wrestling lore, and I've made many enemies. There was only 4 WrestleManias in the Attitude Era, 14, 15, 16, a.k.a. 2000, and 17. And as far as I'm concerned, it was 2-2. Two of them were good, two of them sucked. And when you say this on the internet, people get upset because, you can't attack anything from the Attitude Era. WrestleMania 15, all I'll say about 15 is when Shane O'Mac versus X-Pac is the match of the night, you might want to reconsider your booking. That's all I got to say. Not a fan of 15.
That's Game Boy.
Who the hell?
That's NXT Game Boy. Say what?
Yeah, Shane O'Mac is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers.
It was. I'm sorry. WrestleMania 15, X-Pac and Shane O'Mac was the match of the night.
He got
I have to agree.
When that's the match of the night, you may want to and look at the matches that were on the card. I mean, they had the whatever that boxing thing was.
Butterbean knocking out Gun.
That was a flop.
The hardcore triple threat match between Al Snow, Billy's Gun, and Hardcore Holly.
That was a flop.
Billy's Gun? Are you serious?
Very ugly.
D'Lo Brown and Toph versus Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart. Owen Hart was in a lot of tag matches.
They didn't know what they were doing with Owen.
That was a DLC match. That was a DLC match because they won a battle royal for that.
True. Big Show versus Mankind. Moving on from that. Also, Big Show did one of his many heel face turns where he entered the match as a heel and then he KO'd Vince and left as a face. Oh, don't forget this classic, Road Dogg versus Kenny Shamrock versus Goldust versus Val Venus, featuring DLC, Blue Meanie, and what's that Shamrock chick? What was her name? Ryan Shamrock.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan Shamrock.
Yeah, moving on.
I forgot her real name.
Hold up. I have a question then. You never said what is the worst WrestleMania. You elaborating these WrestleManias, but Tech, you haven't said what was your worst one yet.
WrestleMania 15. I think it's the worst.
That's your worst one?
9. Yep, you're worse than 9. Because of all the potential that it had to be great. And around this year, remember, this is 1999. And he basically won the war. Yeah,
this
he basically won the war. And all the potential WWE had of this card to be, for it to be good, it is just horrible. I'd rather watch WrestleMania 9.
And this leads to the next Mania, man. WrestleMania 2000. This is a real story, man. I was sick as a dog, man. I was really sick when this Mania came. I don't know what happened to me. It was probably the worst cold I ever had. I remember going to the hospital, and I remember it was spring break, and I literally begged my mom to order this pay-per-view because, 2000 was a good year. I don't know if anybody remembers, but 2000 was a good year. The product was hot.
Yeah, we survived
yeah, and I remember I was sick as a dog. I had no business watching this pay-per-view. I should have been home. But my mom, she was the MVP, and she ordered WrestleMania 2000. I still had the VHS tape. I will say for my money, for me personally, and I know you said 15, Tech, for me 2000 is the worst. This show did not have a singles match. Every single match was a gimmick match. Every match was a tag team match or a 6-person match. There was not a single singles match. Many of the matches were convoluted, had a lot of overbooking. You didn't know who was good, who was bad, but wrestling was hot. And so back then, nobody, it didn't really matter. But if you go back and you look at this show from beginning to end, it was horrible. I mean, this show had the catalyst for TLC.
Worse.
Yeah, this show for me is remembered for two things. I remember it because this is basically where TLC started. You had your triangle ladder match with Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys. It was a triangle ladder match, but many people see it as the first spiritual TLC, but we didn't actually get the first one officially until SummerSlam. And then we had where Kurt Angle defended the Intercontinental and the European Championship at the same time against Jericho and Benoit, which I thought was a really cool thing. You haven't really seen mid-card titles treated like that since then.
So let's not forget, too, even though you think 16 was the worst, and me and NXT Game Boy watched this together, don't forget it also was important because this also was the first WrestleMania that included stars from WCW that just jumped ship. Because remember, this was He Who We Do Not Speak of anymore. the Radicals, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, and Dean Malenko. The man of three holes in the WWE.
Nobody's ever seen Perry Saturn.
Yeah, that is true. Nobody knew who he was till he came to WWE.
Well, when he was in WCW, he had that little siren.
Yeah, that Scott Steiner took.
He had a siren and a mop. No, he had a siren. No, he had an air raid siren and a mop that nobody remembers.
Let's not forget.
I think that every Mania generation, there's a show that just does very well commercially, but like the card itself wasn't good, and you're like, well, why did people buy it? And I think, well, it's because of the WrestleMania name. For the generation we're part of, I think that's 29, and for the teens, I think it's 2000. Because commercially, this show was a success. It was like one of their best, highest-rated pay-per-views at the time, as far as like buy rates are concerned. But the show itself was just kind of
Before we go to
and also
matches,
he had a theme song too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. That's the first WrestleMania that officially had a theme song. California.
Oh yeah, you're right.
California.
Yeah. They started giving their Mania's theme songs around this time. You're right.
Were you a fan of that theme song?
It was so bad
Game Boy?
No, I don't remember it.
Yeah, go on YouTube, man. It was like an instrumental of
Tupac.
It was an instrumental of the Tupac Dr. Dre song.
Oh, California Love.
No. It had rap in it. No, it had rap in it, and it was pretty bad. It was like California. Ooh,
Tupac
California.
Yeah, Tupac had
no, it was not. It was.
I'll just take your word on it. That sounds bad.
It was one piece.
Shin, do you know a lot about rap? About hip hop?
Yeah.
I grew up with Tribe Called Quest growing up.
What
I'm a
do
hip hop
you
fan
though?
since I was
Man,
born.
shouldn't have talked about rap and hip hop.
The fans want to know. I'm getting texts right now that they say, "Hey, what does she know about hip hop?" And also, another fan said Alicia Webb was her real name for Ron Shamrock. So the fans just want to know, what is your knowledge of gangster rap?
No, it's just that I grew up on that, and then I moved to the East Coast, and it was Biggie and Tupac, so I was a Tupac fan, still am. And I grew up on Tribe Called Quest, I grew up on Slick Rick, but this song that California that came out with, that was like some kind of rapper. You said it was Tupac, but it sounded more like One Piece.
Yeah, it's weird. I would say cause they tried to act like it was Tupac. The way they kind of if you listen to some versions, they try to mimic it like it was Tupac singing. I was like, wait a minute, we don't know. I was like, there ain't no Tupac singing that. It was horrible.
Well, I guess it's better than Flow Rider, right?
Okay.
Oh God.
Okay. Well, okay. Real quick.
Flow Rider
let's not forget.
all the time, right?
God damn, they play that nigga to death.
Okay, look, I know. Let's not forget WrestleMania 15. WrestleMania 15. To go back real quick. DLC in WrestleMania 15 was the Hell in a Cell match that never happened between Boss Man and Taker. Teddy Long was referee. One of many matches between Kane and Triple H. And is the first and only time Stone Cold Steve Austin went into a WrestleMania without wearing his vest. He wore a shirt, which I thought was weird.
That was a story behind that one. That was a story behind that one. He went home to Texas and packed his stuff. He forgot his vest.
He got his vest, right.
300 times on his podcast.
Yeah,
he said
I
300
was saying
times
that
on Stone
was
Cold
funny.
podcast, and I was like,
he wore that wet shirt.
All right, so what's the next topic? Because we're running through time.
No, we got.
Okay, the next one is
the next one is the worst WrestleMania matches of all time.
Worst Mania.
It ain't gonna be many cover.
I thought you were going down the line.
Okay, well, we all know what the worst match was. That was Lesnar Goldberg. So
I got one worse than that. I got one worse than that. I got one worse than Brock and Goldberg. Bret Hart against Vince McMahon.
I forgot about that one.
Wait a minute. Who said we had somebody on the show that I mentioned that, and he said that was an abortionate match? No, that was David Hero that said that.
Bret against Vince is the worst WrestleMania match, in my opinion, in all of the WrestleMania history.
Tag, that never happened. That match could not be worse than Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler.
It was.
This is like a pick your poison argument, really. So.
Okay. So, who do you think was the worst?
Oh man, that's hard. Between Brett, Vince, and Cole and King.
Mhm.
Dude, that's hard, man. That's like choosing between like suicide or like getting run over by a car. It's gonna hurt either way.
Terry Rollins versus the Cat. The Stink Face.
I forgot what
since
that
Tech brought it up, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Brett versus Vince. That was kind of bad.
Game Boy.
Kind of.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of bad WrestleMania matches, but if I had to choose one, it would have to come from the Divas. Their matches have never been good in WrestleMania to my mind.
Their matches are not good because they don't give them the opportunity to be good. If you notice, every WrestleMania, their matches are like second to last. It's usually right after Taker, so the crowd doesn't care. And it's always a gimmick match, like a tag match or a Lumberjill match or a Battle Royale. Like, no one cares.
Wait, did anybody forget WrestleMania 20... Was it WrestleMania 20... which one was in Chicago? 22, when Trish took on Mickie James. That was the last good Divas match there ever was.
The fact that it was that many years ago should tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that had a build to it. That had a build.
Something they don't do anymore.
And a payoff to it.
As far as I'm concerned, that was the last true women's feud. It got built. They built it up for months. The payoff was at a big show, and it was actually a good match. And that was way back in 22. We have not seen that since then.
And we also have not seen
for Tech Thought.
Real quick.
The Tech Thought is the 22. This is on the live pay-per-view. It's not on the DVD. I saw this live on pay-per-view. Now, when Trish goes for the Bulldog Stratisfaction, that's what they call it, when she goes off the rope.
One of them things. Mm-hmm.
Mickie James grabs her crotch, and Trish breaks the hold, and Mickie takes her hand that was in her crotch and licked her hand, and the crowd pops. You will not see that on the DVD, probably not on the network.
Yeah, the 4 kids. Yeah.
That was an ultimate jizz moment.
Yeah. Definitely for you.
Okay.
And it's a Game Boy.
Tech Thought.
The answer to your question, any of the Diva matches in WrestleMania in the last like 4 years, because these are all the WrestleManias I've been to, they were straight ass. Sorry.
I felt sorry for him last year, man.
I think the Snooki one or whatever. I came back and my girlfriends at the time, they was telling me that Snooki was out there out wrestling the damn Divas and shit. I'm like, dang, this the girl from like Real World or some shit. What was it? Not Real World.
Jersey
one of them
Shore.
I know who she was.
Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore.
Jersey
one
Shore.
Of them damn shows.
I thought last year was just. They had like every diva on the roster in some really convoluted 14 diva match where it just goes to one pinfall, and I was like, what the crap? Like, how do you even believably do a match where you pin or submit somebody and the 13 other divas can't enter? That's so half-assed. And then they did it right after Taker's streak lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, real quick. We got one on another topic real quic.
I agree with you, Toph, on that one, but
NXT Game Boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Worst WrestleMania theme song, or in general. This had to be WrestleMania after 16. All the theme songs WrestleMania used. You can think of the worst theme song that they've used so far.
Oh, you
I can go down the line for that one.
I don't remember. Y'all talk about stuff I barely remember.
Oh, I got you for this one. This one.
I remember.
Go to Toph or Shin or one of them. Come back to me. I have to think because I barely remember radio songs.
You the Game Boy.
I'm with Tech on.
So.
Oh Lord.
You Tech.
I'm with.
This is your job.
I'm with Tech.
Big Time.
He said Big Time, which was 21. That was the worst.
Toph.
All the music for WrestleMania 28. I hated all the music. It sounds like music you hear on prom night.
You didn't like Ric Flair's retirement song?
Ric Flair crying.
That retirement song. Everybody was crying in the stand. Reed Flair was crying too.
I think the theme song for 28 was called Wild One. They had the chick come and perform it or something before the Rock Cena match. But I used to listen, man. I used to listen to all the Mania music. There's a lot of fans out there that really care about themes, man. But I could not stand the Mania 28 soundtrack, man. Like literally all the songs just sound like something you hear on prom night. I like the Team Mania because what's that?
Wait a minute, Tech. WrestleMania 28 had 5 theme songs, and 2 of them were by Flo Rida. So Gilmore was right. They're using him.
That's the one I hate.
What they used to do.
You say Toph 28?
What they used to do was they would have one main theme and a secondary theme, but then starting from 26 and onward, they would have 3 to 4 themes, but they really went overboard for 28. 28 had 5 themes, and it was in the Teen Manias they would have music that would hype you up and get you excited, but every single song from 28 was something you would hear at prom night.
Oh, Gully.
Yeah, it was I can't get hyped to this. It was dumb.
It's not from 22 Jump Street.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to bring in a special caller. Real quick, Chan Chung, you there?
Hey.
Hey, buddy. Real quick, tell us, you say you want to talk about 2 WrestleManias. You got 2 minutes.
WrestleMania 29 and WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 29, Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan to AJ Lee. That is the most pathetic match I have ever seen. In 18 seconds, Big Show can knock out Sheamus in 18 seconds with a KO punch. But also, you gotta think, the freaking kiss that AJ gave to Daniel Bryan that cost him that match. But also WrestleMania 30, Brock versus Taker. Taker, I heard, he told Brock to beat him up anyways so that he would end the streak, which I'm still kind of shocked that the streak is ended. But, that's me. I don't know what you guys think, but...
Yeah. Well NXT Game Boy was there live.
It needs to go. Sorry. That's just true.
To tell Chance Young this, I was into this match, but when I found out that Taker got his bell rung, I was not into it, because it was so awkward within the spots. And now, because of this match, we call The Undertaker Old Man Taker. Every picture that I have posted on the page, Taker has gray from the top of his head to
the soles of his feet,
bottom of his chin. Huh?
Yeah. Chan Chung, anything else on Mania you want to talk about real quick?
Actually, not about Mania, but I do want to say something real quick about 2 other things real quick.
Okay, you got 20 seconds. Make it quick.
All right. ACW, March 13th. I hope I see you guys there.
Oh, God.
Because let's just say a good brother of mine, Lance Young, is going to be going there to kind of show off to Jimmy Dream, to kind of prove him something that Jimmy Dream has got to know something, that he's doing something wrong in ACW. But also, GEW, Global Extreme Wrestling, like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, Chance Young, GEW, at Chance Young, GEW. You guys ask me questions, anything you want, follow me, message me, whatever. But you guys have a good night, all right?
You do the same, man. You have a good night. Thanks for calling.
Not sure what that noise was. We do apologize, fans, for that. Technical difficulties. For that. NXT Game Boy.
Sure.
We're WrestleMania. You've been in WrestleMania live. Tell us so for your worst experience at WrestleMania. It don't have to be. It could be running into one of the boys. Could be a match. Could be a finish. Your live reaction to Mania. Tell us your worst.
Some of the worst things about WrestleMania is, number one, is getting shirts and merchandise. It's very hard to get a lot of the merchandise and stuff. WrestleMania have shirts and a lot of products that you won't find on Shop Zone. You will have to get actually at WrestleMania. Another thing is parking. A lot of people, when WrestleMania is over with, I've gotten to a lot of altercations. My girlfriend's my witness. I had to almost beat some people's asses because they don't know how to drive. Lastly, the only other problem I've had with WrestleMania is, of course, WrestleMania. WrestleMania 27 and WrestleMania 29 by far are my worst WrestleManias because I actually paid money to go see them. And I actually, WrestleMania 27, I actually had to pay money not only for myself but for my little brother, Tech, to go see and get hotel rooms and all that other stuff. But on a good note, WrestleMania is WrestleMania. I would just tell people, if you're planning on going to WrestleMania, bring plenty of money. Rent a car if you can. If you can't get close to the stadium or to the arena or wherever it's being stationed at, make sure that you wear the proper clothing. Check the weather so you know if it's going to be raining or if it's going to be windy or whatever. You don't want to come there with shorts and stuff and it's 40-degree weather. And also, just try to have fun. Sometimes you might spot some people out there. Last year I ran into the Usos and Naomi on Bourbon Street. I shitted on Vicky Guerrero, and that felt really, really good. If you want to know that story, I can tell y'all that story one day. Shitted on her. That was pretty good.
Can you tell her?
You took a dump on her?
Yeah, no, I shit. When I mean shitted on her, I embarrassed her.
You embarrassed her.
So we was in a voodoo store, and I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not a Christian, so I don't believe in God and Jesus and stuff. But I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in higher power. And I was explaining to my girlfriends that when you're going into certain voodoo stores, you have to give an offering for the spirits that's around. In the back of the voodoo store was Vicky Guerrero and her daughters and some bullshit-ass bodyguard, security, whatever the hell he was. Anyway, so I'm in the store, and the girls notice Vicky, and Vicky is standing no more than about 3-4 feet from us. So she can hear us talking because it's a small shop. And my girlfriends at the time are like, ain't that Vicky Guerrero and all that? And she, of course, I'm co-host Under the Mat Radio. They telling me, don't you want to get her interview? I said, no. Fuck I want her interview for? And she just had this look, like she looked at me, and I just looked at her like, who the fuck is you? Like, you Vicky Guerrero. No, you're not important. And she just stormed out of there, and her daughters rolled their eyes and all that stuff. Huh?
Excuse
I'm sorry,
me?
Say Vicky Guerrero. Yeah, Vicky Guerrero was
Yeah, that's what I
told her I didn't want her interview. She's not a wrestler. I don't really, I've close ties with Chavo Guerrero Sr. I've spoken to him off air and on air, and she's pretty much done it for the for the sake of Eddie and his sins. That's why she's there. You feel what I'm saying? And I somebody who just I like wrestlers. I mean, I understand the wives and the mistress and the kids and stuff for some of these guys and everything, but I think she's in the business for the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my brief story of. But if anybody's listening, you plan on going to WrestleMania, parking, weather, trying to get merchandise and stuff, bring plenty of money. Don't worry about if you're not close. Yeah, don't worry about if you're close on that. And get to WrestleMania early, preferably around like 3-4 o'clock. Why, you ask? Because they sell merchandise out there. And, don't worry about if you're going to get your seat. You will make it to your seat. WrestleMania starts mostly on time.
Why, we playing NXT off?
Huh? Oh, no. This is a little
NXT
theme, if you will. Okay.
No, I'm just letting everyone else know, and that's pretty much the end. I think we talked about all the worst that we can. I think WrestleMania 31 is going to be pretty bad. I don't think it's going to be horrible, but I think it's going to be pretty bad just because I don't like Roman Reigns.
Yeah, don't like Douglas Roman Reigns. Definitely don't.
Sorry.
That being said, fans, this is Under the Mat Radio, WrestleMania's worst, with Shinblade, NFC Game Boy, and of course, this is Tack. Thank everybody for calling in. Everybody at Tack's Facebook, and also tweeted us for WrestleMania's worst. Thank you for Kevin Stecko and 80Cs for calling in. Thank you, Shin, for calling in. Glad that your connection started working. Thank you, Toph, for calling in and reminding us that you're still black. That you're still black and
also hashtag NFC Dumps.
Yes, hashtag NFC Dumps. Actually, hashtag it tonight. Love y'all most. Thank
Big
you.
Shit.
And real quick, new text NFC Rants. Love y'all much. We'll be back next week, live, 7 p.m.